Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show, where we talk about food, fashion, finance, and foundations of life. We are live on KCAA Broadcasting Network, 1050 AM, following broadcasts in 102.3 FM and 106.5 FM. We are serving the world one household at a time. KCAA is affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports. We are sponsored by Sheltered Studios, Fire Up Connect, and Yeater Peak Performance Coaching.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show with your host, Kim Yeater, and you are in for an incredible treat today. We are focusing in on foundation, faith, family, fitness, and if you want to have an incredible foundation that empowers you, you definitely want to put some time aside and listen on in today. We have three incredible speakers. In our faith segment, we have Chad Stewart, best-selling author and screenwriter. We have our family segment, creator of the Fan Project, Jason Howell, and our fitness segment with four-time Pro Bowler winner and creator of WCTE, Wes Chandler. And we are going to begin by welcoming our amazing friend, so blessed to know him, Chad Stewart. Hello, Chad.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Well, I got to just share a little bit about you with our audience because you're just a rock star. So, guys, let me tell you, he is born in Newport Beach, California. Chad has 20 years of experience in writing fiction, nonfiction, and screenplays. He's also an award-winning best-selling author, educator, global strategist, and creativity expert. He is the founder of the prestigious Britfield Institute in Devonfield, dedicated to the highest quality in publishing, films, and education. He received his Bachelor of Arts in British Literature and European History from Brown University, earned an MBA from Boston College, and is pursuing a Master's of Science and PhD at Claremont Graduate University. He's traveled throughout the world, spent 2 years in England, furthering his education and research. Now based in San Diego, he is a strong supporter of education and arts. His two books out now are Britfield and the Lost Crown and Britfield and the Rise of the Lion. 7 books on the way, 7 movies, about to surpass, predicted to surpass Harry Potter. Hello, Chad.
Hello.
All right, Chad, you got to give me the lowdown. Today we're talking faith, right?
Correct.
So when it comes to faith, what a journey for you. What a
Yes.
journey. Tell us a little bit about what faith means to you.
Yeah, it's something that really encompasses your entire life, and we were talking about this earlier, but it's something that you really need to be all in or not at all. It's like, and I've always been that way, that you either do something right or you don't do it at all. And it's not easier. It's much easier said than done. But faith is something that you must commit to, and you have to commit to. And as a Christian, you will be called, and that line will be constantly pushed or drawn, and you will be challenged upon challenge. And just when you think you can't take any more, you're pushed and challenged more. But you grow, and it's a growth period. And we've said this before, but God loves you just as you are, but loves you too much to keep you that way. And I think that's really about faith, because He's going to keep taking to you. You know, He'll first ask you to run a mile, and you're like, God, I don't run a mile, or I don't run. And pretty soon you're running a mile, and He goes, I want you to do 3 miles now, and I want you to do 5 miles and 10 miles, and He'll keep pushing you. And it's interesting. I was thinking about that quote, and I know it upset Martin Luther, but faith without works is dead. And I understand why it upset Luther, but I think really the idea, and I was thinking about it this morning because I know I was going to talk about faith, but I think how can you not have works without faith? Meaning, if I have faith and I'm walking in faith, then I have the works. I'm showing it, whether I'm being faithful, whether I'm releasing my tension or my anger, or walking away from the things that I need to walk away from, or making the right choices, or reaching out in faith. That is the work.
That is so powerful. So let's talk a little bit about your transition from the corporate world into creating the Britfield legacy, because that was an absolute step of faith for you. And I want that story. of that drawing. Tell us about that moment.
Sure. And I'm originally from Newport Beach, California, and then about 16 years ago, no, I guess it was 26 years ago, I went back to New England, which was really like going to a whole other country.
Oh, yeah.
we were talking about that earlier.
Back in the can, haven't you?
Yeah, it's very different back there. So anyway, but it was great. It was a great experience, and I went there for undergraduate and graduate work, and then corporate. And so over 10 years ago, I was actually in business and finance, and but I was kind of bored with it, and I was actually writing. I've been writing since I was about 18 or 19, more scripts, like movie scripts, and then I was writing a lot of nonfiction books. Excuse me. And then it was over 10 years ago, and I was at this really boring seminar for investment, and it was like insurance seminar, so it's like yikes. And I started to doodle. And
wait.
Oh yeah.
Didn't you train yourself to never doodle?
Yeah, it was a deal I made with myself as I got back into school and graduate. I'm like no doodling, because I always had that sort of problem, because I drift, right? And I've got the creative spirit. And there I am, and I'm doodling. Little did I know that was going to be a destiny for me, if you will, or the next 25 years of my life. But I just drew a circle, 3 lines, a basket, a boy and a girl, and I wrote the boy and the balloon. And for some reason at that moment, and we've all had those moments, I just connected with it. I connected with the idea. I went home that weekend, and literally on one piece of paper, I just started writing bullet points as this whole story came to life about these 2 orphans, Tom and Sarah, 12 years old. It takes place in Yorkshire, Northern England, present time. And this whole adventure of how they escape the orphanage, and they're chased by this detective, and they find this hot air balloon and fly across England, and then there's this like royal mystery to it. And so it really kind of started simple. And I thought, you know what, that sounds like a fun story. I was writing this nonfiction business series for sort of Pelican Publishing, and I'm like, I need a break, and I'll just see where this takes me. And so lo and behold, 4 years and 2,500 hours later, I produced the first book, almost 400 pages. And then from concept to launching the first book, 10 years. And that 10 years, a decade, was a massive walk of faith. You know, it's funny because we live in this flash over substance society. I want it now. If we have to wait 5 minutes, imagine waiting for over a decade. And I remember a pastor saying long ago, and it really stuck with me. He said, if God fulfills one of your prayers within a decade, consider it a miracle. And it's not to devalue God, because he can step in and do anything at any time, but I think it puts it in perspective, and his timing's not our timing, his ways are not our ways. So I learned a lot of faith, meaning he gave me the idea, and I thought, gosh, 2 or 3 years, launched this thing and stuff. I couldn't begin to believe it would take 10 years to do it. And then on top of that, that it would be the next 25 years of my life. And I think the thing is too, is they always say life is what happens when you plan on something else, right? And it's like, the last thing on my mind, I guess it's been about 12 years now, was to write and dedicate, quite frankly, the next quarter of a century to a young adult action series for children based on family, friendship, loyalty, and courage.
Right there. Based on what?
Family and friendship, faith, loyalty, and courage.
Yeah, powerful.
Faith is a huge thing in the book series, which is great. It's for a general public. So everyone that reads it will love it. It's just a great story. It's really just about family values and sacrifice and courage and strength and character. But faith plays a huge role, or a thread through it. And God often does this when you're writing it, and it's amazing what other people pick up on it. I've been speaking with this amazing Christian scriptwriter that's been in the industry for about 20 years, and he loves the book. He's hoping that we're going to pull him to be to adapt it into the movie, because we're in development for the first movie right now. But it's just amazing, like what the things he picks up, and he's picked up so much of that faith, that thread of faith. He's picked up how, up at the orphanage, the adults in this particular case are bad, and yet there's another one there that's really good. And then it's all the people that help Tom and Sarah along the way, just that act of kindness and courage when they need it. And I think we can all look back on our life where God has stepped in at those just critical moments, or those crucial moments. And I just think this book it opened up my soul. It took everything inside me to write it. And that's often what artists do, whether you're a painter or an actor or a writer. You really are bearing what's inside you, and you're letting the world read it. It's like almost like reading your diary. It's a bit raw. And so that in and of itself too is an act of faith. Imagine writing a book and then getting it out there for other people to read and to critique. Right?
And this whole process has been a step of faith for you.
Sure.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So this is projected to surpass Harry Potter.
Correct.
Now this requires faith to step into that,
huge.
doesn't it?
Yeah, it's hard, and I know we're on the air, but it's really hard. I'll try to sort of encapsulate it, if you will. But it's a daily thing. It's a daily battle. It's dying to self daily. I was telling you that my quote of the month now, or not my quote of the month, my scripture of the month is that he must increase so I can decrease.
So good.
Last month it was walk by faith and not by sight. And it's like, it sounds great on surface. You're like, yes, that's great. And it's like, yeah, but it's doing it daily. It's doing it every morning, day and night, 24/7. And when you trip, this is the big thing as a believer, as a Christian, when you trip, just, humble yourself, repent quickly and move on, because it's like, we'll snap or we'll lose ourselves for a moment and then we feel guilty and then the enemy comes in. It's like, oh, you're so worthless, and starts to hammer you. And I've learned just to quickly say, God, sorry, made a mistake, reset. But no, it's the journey that we're headed now is in the development of the movie and having to get Hollywood involved. That's going to take massive faith. I do have a prayer core team that's praying for it. And there's just going to be amazing challenges. It's a 7-book series, 7 movies. And so it's 25 years, and we're going to be doing a global tour pretty soon too. So
Incredible. I'm so excited. So tell me a little bit about these books being used as a resource in schools right now and the impact it's having.
Yeah, we have a huge passion, and I have a huge passion for education, and especially underprivileged or Title I schools. And so we had a huge book tour or author visit tour that we launched back in 2019. I ended up driving about 9,000 miles, 23 states, over 180 schools, and presented in front of around 40,000 students. And in every particular school you can imagine, private, public, small libraries. And we're getting Britfield and the Lost Crown into their reading curriculum, not just the libraries, because we have an 83-page study guide based on national standards. So it's really wonderful that we can get this type of book, which is really just based on family values. It's educational, and it's grounded in reality. We have so many books out there and so many stories that are sort of fiction, they're mysticism, demigods, witchcraft, and all this stuff really is not very healthy to read, especially for your children or your students.
Right. Give me a moment in one of the books where the characters really stepped into faith.
That's a good question. I think it was when they, at the beginning, I don't want to give anything away, but when they were planning to escape from Weatherly. And it's twofold. One is they risked everything if they got caught, and all the orphans were willing to pull in as a distraction, right? So Tom and Sarah could get away, and all of them were taking a huge leap of faith, because if and when they were all caught, the next six months for them was going to be miserable. So I think the whole thing is just walks of faith, one faith after another, escaping where are we going to go, how are we going to get there, not knowing, relying on the kindness of others and strangers. And so many times I think when they were out of faith, or they were at that moment of crisis, in this particular case, God intervened. I don't say it, but it's there, if you will, and I think we've all experienced that. So I think there's just those little steps. I think sometimes it's obvious, but I think the thread is all the way through it.
So powerful. So I know there's been times for you in this journey, Chad, that you've shared with me, where you have done the work, you're in contacting this person, connecting with this person, and all of a sudden it goes quiet. Crickets.
Yeah. I call it Cricketville. That's July, Cricketville. It's like you are literally pounding it. I mean, I work 7 days a week, and usually like 5:30 to 6. So I don't do like 18-hour days, but I do consistently 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and plus you get to a certain point, and I think you and I can relate to this, and we were talking a little bit about it, is the amount of things we can get done when we're not distracted. A lot of it's just focused time, focused energy, focused goals, but. And so you do all of this, and you do this amazing work, and you're doing everything right, and you're way ahead of the game, and it's just quiet, and there's nothing happening, and nothing's moving. And I think it's often in the stillness you need your greatest faith. Because sometimes it's clear. It's like, I've been challenged with this, or I got this bad news, or I just lost my job, and yes, and that's tough and difficult, but it's a clear object of what you need to have faith on. But sometimes it's the waiting. And it's funny thing about the waiting is, and I was saying this to myself, I'm like, it actually hurts sometimes. It's like you can feel it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so unnaturally still. I call it suspended reality. I'm like, not one email, not one phone call. Like, what in the world, right? I mean, has the earth stopped spinning, right?
Yeah, and then what happens? Like, all of a sudden you're like, did it stop spinning? Has yours stopped? And then it's like nonstop, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it comes in waves, it comes in avalanches.
So amazing. Now, I want our listeners to be able to access your books. Where can they get your books?
Yeah,
and how can they reach you?
Sure. We're obviously on Amazon, which is great. Like for book one, Britfield and Lost Crown, we're paperback, hardcover, ebook, and audio. Just one thing too is like it's not only a bestseller; it's one of the most awarded books in children's fiction, and so that's been a huge blessing for book one, and then book two also for Amazon. And then there's our website, Britfield.com. So it's Britfield. Britfield, Britfield.com. Check out the website. It's amazing. It's got over 400 pictures of England. So all the places that Tom and Sarah go are real locations. It's got interactive maps, tons of information, lots of interviews.
Tell us one more time.
Yeah, it's Britfield.com, Britfield.com, Britfield.com.
Excellent. Chad Stewart, what an honor. Thank you so much for being with us on the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show Foundation segment, and way to take on Faith Day. You're a rock star.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Pleasure. We'll be back in just a moment.
We are live on KCAA Broadcasting Network, 10:50 a.m., following broadcasts in 102.3 FM and 106.5 FM. We are serving over 5 million households in the Inland Empire, North County, San Diego, Orange County, and San Gabriel Valley. We are serving the world one household at a time. We are also in iHeart, Spotify, Tiki Live, Ustream, Apple, iTunes, and anywhere with your favorite podcast. KCAA is affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports. We are sponsored by Sheltered Studios, Fire Up Connect, and Yeater Peak Performance Coaching.